Hey everyone, welcome to lesson 2, classes and object. Today we are going to dive into a fun Python object-oriented programming assignment, our TaskManager project. You have two ways. You can either code everything from scratch, or if you prefer, start with a partially completed version and fill in the missing pieces. Both ways will help you learn. The goal is simple. We are building a task manager app using Python classes and objects. Along the way, you will practice creating classes and objects, working with attributes and methods, storing objects in lists, looping through them, and formatting output using stir method. So here's the plan. We will create two classes. The first one is task, which represents a single task with a title, due date, and whether it's completed or not. The second is task manager, which keeps a list of all tasks and lets us add new ones and display them neatly. By the end, you will be able to create your task manager, add tasks, and see them printed in a readable format. Here's how we will do it step by step. First step, create the task class with three attributes, title, due date, and completed, which starts as false. Add a stir method to return a readable string showing the task and its status. Step 2, create the task manager class. Give it a tasks list, an add tasks method to store new tasks, and a list tasks method to print them with numbers. Step 3, in the main program, use f double underscore name double underscore equals double underscore main double underscore. Create a task manager object, add at least two tasks, and list them. For example, if you list your tasks, it may look something like this, nice and clean. And remember, if coding from scratch feels tricky, no worries. You can work with the started code and fill in the parts marked to do. This way, you still get hands-on practice without feeling overwhelmed. Now it's time to do it together. Let's build our first dummy project. We define the class. We call it task. Here we define the class. Let's keep the same name, which is task. As I said before, this is our blueprint for each to-do item. It groups related data and behavior. Then the constructor, which runs automatically when we make a new task. If underscore init underscore opening parentheses, self title and due date. As I explained previously, it refers to the specific task object being created. It lets us attach attribute to that object. Then self dot title equals title, self dot due date equals due date. These two store the past values on the object. Each task instance will have its own title and due date. And then we create another attribute, which is completed. Let's set it to false, which means a new task defaults to not done. This boolean will let us track a completion later. Then we define a special method called str or stir. So this is a special method that tells Python how to convert the object to a string. If we don't define underscore str printing task would show the object address in memory, as we have seen before, so which is not user friendly. Then we define a variable and call it status. Status. Done. if self dot completed else not done. Okay, this is a ternary conditional expression, a compact way to pick between two values. If self.completed is true, status becomes done. Otherwise, it becomes not done. It's just preparing the human-friendly piece that tells us whether the task is finished. Okay, then we return what we wanna show to the user. Return. Okay, f string. Okay, curly braces self dot title. Okay, then opening parenthesis to curly braces self dot due date. Okay, then status curly braces status. Okay, this is an F string, a modern readable way to embed variables into a string. When print task runs, Python calls task.str under the hood and the return string is displayed, which is the title, due date, and whether it's done or not. The next step is we define a new class whose job is to manage many task objects. So the new class here is, okay, let's call it TaskManager. This keeps responsibilities separate. Task describes a single to-do item, and TaskManager organizes them. Then we define, okay, the constructor, okay, self, okay. Okay, so when we create a task manager, it starts with an empty Python list called tasks. So this one, list.tasks equals, okay, empty list. So this list will hold references to task instances, not copies, just references. Okay, then we define a method to add a new task to the manager. Okay, so here is the method. Okay, add task. Okay, open parenthesis, self, title, due date, and closing parenthesis. Okay, colon. So this expects the two pieces of information we give the task constructor, title and due date. So inside this method we create an object called task. Okay, task. Okay, task, and then okay, title and due date. Here we created a new task object by calling the task class like a function. Python runs task dot underscore underscore any underscore underscore and returns the new instance. Then append the created task to the tasks list. Okay, here self dot tasks dot append, and okay, we append the task. Okay, append adds the object reference to the end of the list. Now the manager remembers the task. Then we define a method to print the tasks. This method prints every task the manager holds. After that, we loop through the items in the list. So for I, which is the index, and task, which is the item, in enumerate, and then self dot tasks, which holds the references, and then okay, one. Enumerate loops over the list and returns pairs, index and item. The second argument here, 1, means the index starts at 1. So our printout is 1, 2, 3, and so on, not 0, 1, 2. Okay, so this is just nicer for people reading the list. Okay, then we print the pair index and item. Okay, print, okay, f string, okay, curly braces I, curly braces task. Okay, and that's it. So here is another f string. It prints the number and the task object. When an object is interpolated into an f string or passed to print, Python converts it to a string by calling stir task. That triggers task.stir we defined earlier. So f string becomes readable and not the address and memory we have seen earlier. Now Python will print the title, due date, and status, which is done or not done. If underscore underscore name double underscore equals double quote double underscore main double underscore and colon. Okay, I assume that you are familiar with this line of code. For those who are not, let me explain it briefly. This line is a conditional statement that tells Python only run the code below if this file is being executed directly, not imported as a module. Python assigns a special built-in variable called double underscore name double underscore to every file. If the file is being run directly, double underscore name double underscore is set to double underscore main double underscore. If the file is being imported into another file, double underscore name double underscore is set to the file name, so without the extension .py. So the task manager runs only when the file is executed directly. It does not run when the file is imported elsewhere, for example, testing or reuse. Now, let's create a class instance and call it TM. Okay, task manager. Okay, here we created a task manager instance and stored it in the variable TM. And now let's call the add task method on the manager. Okay, so TM dot add underscore task, opening parenthesis double quote. Okay, let's call it finish homework. Okay, which is the title of the task. Okay, and the due date is, let's say, 2025 August 15th. Okay, this is the first task. Okay, now let's add another task. Okay, so Python automatically passes TM as self inside the method. That is, a new task object is created and appended to tm.tasks. Then we add a second task the same way. The last step is we call the listing method, which is tm, okay, list tasks, okay, and opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Okay. Internally, it loops over the two tasks and prints each line. Because task dot underscore underscore stir underscore underscore is defined, so each task prints in a friendly format. So let's print it and see. So here we got an error. Let me check. So the error was because of the indentation. Okay, so now let's print and see. Okay, as you can see here, finish homework. I made a mistake. Homework. Okay, homework. Okay, so finish homework. Due date is 2025 August 15th. Not done. The task status not done. Okay, buy groceries. Due date is 2025 August 10th. Not done. Okay, so let's print it again and see. All right, let's walk through what's happening in memory step by step. Step 1, when we write tm equals task manager, Python creates one new task manager object in memory. Inside it, the task attributes start out as a brand new empty list, just waiting to hold tasks. Step 2, when we call add task for the first time, Python makes our very first task object. That object keeps three pieces of information: the title string, the due date string, and completed, which is set to false. Then the task manager's tasks list get a reference to that new task. Step 3, we do the same thing for the second task. Now our tasks list inside the manager holds two references, one to task number 1 and one to task number 2. Step 4, when we call list tasks, Python loops through the list. For each task, Python tries to turn it into a string by calling stir task. That triggers the task's own _stir method, which returns a nicely formatted string. Finally, print takes that string and displays it on the screen. So behind the scenes, it's just Python moving between object, list, and method calls, all tied together through references in memory. Thank you.